how set up it. It's only been a month.
Yeah.
What have you seen the impact of it so far? What's your hopes?
Well, the one that's been, and I think Tony made reference to it, like the frustrating part is we didn't know our number, right? Like what is the number going to be? First we had 105, so I think you guys kind of knew during spring ball I hadn't had conversations with the guys because we hadn't been told what the number was. I just kept telling them, give me the number, by that I mean roster number. So I had to literally kind of cut my roster down to 105, and all of a sudden they said, hey, we might be going back up and grandfather kids in, so that kind of adjusted where we're at. So that was the most important, but then there was a lot of games going on. There were, up until July 1, you could pay forward guys through NIL, kind of unrestricted like it had been. So we definitely took advantage of that the best we could to maximize the number that we could retain after. I don't know the exact numbers, but I've been told we probably have more numbers, more players that are getting some type of financial gain through either the NIL or the revenue share than any other program in the country. Just kind of what I believe in. Not saying it's always going to be like that, but this first year, that's for sure.
How are you guys from a health standpoint going into fall?
Yeah, really, as of right now, there's only one incoming freshman that will have a second shoulder surgery. Matt Smith, that won't be able to be with us in the fall. But to Jeremy's point, like if a player, like for instance, take a player last year we lost during fall camp. Cole Russ. Like it was 2 weeks before the opener, and he pops his ACL. We knew he was done. I can actually keep another player, and he could be removed to a non-practice player, and that will give me another player on my roster. So there's some gamesmanship that's going to literally go on through fall camp. So you don't have to qualify your roster number until that first game, that Sunday of game week. So ours is very close to being completed, but not quite.
Here's a question about the SEC and the number of conference games that they play.
Yeah.
You've commented on that before. What's it going to take to get the two conferences on the same page?
I would guess it's probably going to be as everything comes down to money. I really believe the reason that I was in the SEC when we were told the Big Ten was going to 9, and we're all like, what are they doing, right? And then I come here and obviously live it. But I was told the reason we did it, which is 100% true, is that because the TV contract was increased, the revenue was increased dramatically with 9 conference games. So my guess is there's a reason that the SEC commissioner is saying he doesn't mind going to 9, and the coaches are saying they don't want to go to 9, but that's for them to figure out, not me to. But I do think if we're going to an automatic qualifier where our conference qualifiers are the same as the SEC, I don't think how it could ever be agreed upon unless both are at 9.
I know you've used the drive to Indy to kind of pepper your guys with questions. So was it just the whole plane ride?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Shad Khan has been extremely gracious to me in my entire time in Illinois and where it is. He had a global, and so I just thought when I was at Arkansas, we used to take our kids private, and they would really enjoy it. A lot of times, the first time they'd ever been on a private. So I hit Josh up and said, hey, can we, obviously Shad didn't give it to us for free, so it was going to be a fee involved. But I knew that would be a bigger number, and then they opened it, the Big Ten opened it up to bring along 6 donors or 6 VIPs. So we were able to bring along a number of our best donors that have been great to us the last several years. So, I sat up front. There's a 4-seat area, so I sat up front with JC, Xavier, and Luke, and sat down, and they were mesmerized, right? And then so I kind of wanted to let them enjoy the trip, and we talked a few things there. But then I bring them in. We came in Sunday night. I brought them in my room yesterday, and we went through about a 45-minute meeting about possible questions, themes, thoughts that could come up. But I know they were very excited. I saw a brief clip that Xavier or Luke sent me that they were at the Louis store, so I'm sure some of that revenue share money was spent yesterday in some capacity.
Did you tell them your Wynn casino story, and shouldn't you tell us now?
Well, they'd heard the story, so that part was out there already. Probably not the intimate details, but we actually, Wynn went through a little reconstruction, so the blackjack table I was sitting at when I saw her walk by had been moved, but the principal was there, so it was all good.
Bret, I count 17 new coaches beyond what the old rule was with the 10 on-field assistants. So is that a 5-year plan that you had with Josh about how to get the staff?
No, so it's actually the year before we had formulated it, and we're going to go to it. The big change was the GAs don't need to be GAs anymore.
Right.
So the 4 GAs that you'd had forever in college football, I was one of them. They had to take classes and do what they needed to do. And then I had a conversation with Josh and Roger about, hey, if they change, because the year before they were going to change the rule in August, and they got nullified. Mm-hmm. So then, I just saw firsthand the effect that not just our 4 GAs got promoted, but I kind of hired an assistant at every position. The NFL took 3 of those guys this year and tried to take Art, right? So I know they're looking at what we're doing. But, obviously you guys know the effect that I said Dana Denwell had on our program a year ago. And I kind of hired Myers Henderson to kind of the same thing on the defense side of the ball. Mike New, who I'd known a little bit through who he was, not burying it. He has been a tremendous impact. Barry and him have built a very special relationship. So some of those guys, the value that they bring, Chris Hurd, my assistant special teams coach, is like worth its weight in gold. So yeah, those guys have been a huge impact on our program.
What's your take on how the schedule stacks up for you this year? Some things you like about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. I always say, like, you can't really complain about anything except when it comes to the finality of it. I remember when we first got this, we kind of got a 4-year window of who we were going to play. We didn't know the dates, but we knew, for 4 years it projected out who we were going to play. That was, I remember the kind of first time looking at it. You never know who's going to be on what team, obviously, and what way it's going to play out. But when the schedule actually came out, we play the latest game without a break, right? We don't get a bye week until bye week 8. Some people have them as early as week 2 and 3. So we have the latest bye week of anybody in our conference, and it's just happens to come after a 4-game stretch where we're at Indiana, at home against USC, at Purdue, at home against Ohio State. So really, a 4-game stretch there that is pretty intense. I think that is probably our biggest challenge. So I've really kind of set up winter, spring, and even this summer. We've kind of been stressing that to our team. Like, we're going to have to be at our best in week 7. On paper, our toughest opponent from the outside world, I'm sure, is Ohio State, and that's week 7 for us. So it's the longest run we'll have without a break. So there's a lot that goes into it. We're going to have to recover, manage, and understand what that means from day 1, week 1 to week 8.
Any ways you can illustrate what's changed because you're at a 10-win season? How is your change?
For sure, the relevance. Even just coming to media days, the amount of people that want to have contact with their guys. One of the things that I have tried to stay true to, and guys that have known me all the way back to my even younger days, assistant at Iowa and coordinator at Kansas State and a young head coach at Wisconsin. I really truly try to be as consistent as I can be, but every year is a unique challenge to the players that you have. We do have a lot of, even in this spring, our first scrimmage, like in the past, I've held out guys that I feel are like winning all Big Ten type players from scrimmages in the spring. And usually it's 2, 3, 4, like I think I had a list of 16 guys. And I'm just like, well, shit, I got to practice somebody, right? Like, so we kind of modified the way we practice. You pull Luke out and, it makes Luke mad, but like I also know I want to get those other guys reps, they get to rush the passer at full speed. So, yeah, there's a lot of little modifications, but hopefully we're going to, you earn success. And you earn expectations. No one gives them to you. If they give them to you, it's usually going to be short-lived, right? So I think we've earned to get to where we are, but the biggest thing is nothing is going to earn success this year except for what we do daily.
One more after this one.
What playoff model do you think would best help the program?
I love the question, but I also think college football, we need to help college football before we help Illinois, right? So there's a 30 for 30 on the expansion of the American Football League and the National Football League. And it's an unbelievable documentary on how teams, even Hunt, had to forego short thinking because he had a very successful team in Houston and moved to the Chiefs, right? And the battle they all went through, and they talked about sometimes you got to lose the battle to win the war, right? That's what we've all said, right? And one of the things I love about Tony Petitti is Tony obviously could be caught in situations where he could be very adversarial with certain people, right? And I think he just continues to build the best model for college football and the Big Ten, obviously. And I think for us, if you just look at last year, put a model in front of us, if we went to 16, where, for us, we would have been, I think, playing Ohio State in a play-in game, right? And I think that would be pretty fun. That would be pretty awesome, even if it was a repeat game, right? I was part of the first ever repeat game in Big Ten history. We played Michigan State in the regular season in the Big Ten championship game. And then next year we played Nebraska in the regular season and played them again in the Big Ten championship game. Won both, right? And I just think the perspective of playing another team within your conference like divisional play is something that's really intriguing, and that builds a lot within the fan base.
Do you see, last one, is there enough backing of the Big Ten publicly. You're the one that seems to be really talking a lot, but there hasn't been a whole lot otherwise. And then you look at the SEC, there's a lot of talk, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best.
Yeah.
There's not much.
I don't know if it's a difference in conference, just a difference in the way things have been said. I just say this, I mean this with all due respect. The Big Ten that I grew up in, playing 88 to 92, coaching in until I left in the early 2000s to go to Kansas State, and then even the league when I came back as a head coach 2006 to 2013 is a completely different league now. Like, I mean, I remember when Penn State came in and it just changed the league immediately, right? And then when we brought these 4 teams in now, are you kidding me? USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington? Like, there isn't another conference that can say that, right? Like, we play on all 4 time zones. We play in all weather, all seasons, at any time during the course of the year. The national media exposure that we get is unprecedented. It couldn't be a better time to be in the Big Ten Conference. I think we need to keep it down. I just think the last 2 years of Big Ten football is completely different than the last 70 before, right? Like, it is. It's not even comparable. So I get why people say it, but I think people are just creatures of habit. Some of those questions in there, you look and you see the guy asking the question. It's some gentleman that's probably been doing it for 20 years and he wants it to be 20 years ago. The thing that you got to be able to do is see ahead of what tomorrow brings, because it's better for all of us.